So next we will move into the next topic like how to delete the data in SQLite database. Okay. So here, so delete the database in the sense, for example, deleting the codes from our codes table. Okay. So let's get started how to delete the data from the database. Okay. In SQLite, the data is stored in the tables as a rows and columns. Okay. If we want to remove any one of the record, we have to use the delete method. Okay. So it is provided by the SQLite database class. Okay. So we can delete a row by specifying the condition usually based on the primary key or some unique column value. Okay. So this ensure only the intended record has been removed. Okay. So let's add the functions in our DB handler class to delete the codes. Okay. So here is a Kotlin code. So we first get the writable instance of the database. Okay. Then we call the db.delete function for passing the table name where the class and the argument for the placeholder. Okay. So in this case, so this particular one is course ID. Okay. So finally, we close the database to free resources. Okay. So next we connect this delete functions to our user interface. Suppose we have a list of courses displayed and we want to delete the course when the button is clicked. So here is a simple example using the button click listener. Okay. So this one is a delete course button, then set on click listener. Okay. So here the value of course ID is equal to 1. Okay. So this will replace the actual ID from the selected item. Okay. So next we have a DB handler dot delete course. So what are the course ID you have given? So that will be deleted. Okay. So suppose if it is not presented, so that time so it will ask the toast messages. Otherwise the course deleted successfully messages will be displayed. Okay. So here we take the ID of the course we want to delete and call the delete course method and show the confirmation toast message about deletion. Okay. So let's run the applications. So the enter first we have to enter some courses first if not already present. Okay. Then click on the delete button for a specific course. Okay. So now you will see the course removed from the database immediately and the toast message confirming the deletion. Okay. So to summarize, so we added the delete course method in DB handler using the SQLite database delete option. Okay. So next we have connected it to a button main activity Kotlin. Okay. Then so we triggered, it removes the specified row from the SQLite table. Okay. Then deleted data in the SQLite is a simple and efficient one. Just make sure you always specify the conditions to avoid removing all the records accidentally. Okay. So next look at how to update and edit the existing records in our database. Okay. See for example, updating the course details like name, durations or descriptions. Okay. So let's get started. In SQLite databases, the data is organized in the table as a rows and columns as we know already. If we want to change existing data, so we have to use the update method of the SQL database class. Okay. The update method requires three things. Okay. So the first one is the table name. Second, set of the new values. Okay. So then third one is the var class to specify which row should be updated. Okay. So always we have to include the conditions in the var class or you might accidentally update all the rows. Okay. So adding update method in dbhandler.kotlin. Okay. So here let's create the simple functions in dbhandler to update the course. Okay. So here this is the Kotlin code for that. So we get the writable database instance first. Then we create the content values containing the new data for each column. Then we call the update method with the table name, values and the var class which is specifying the course ID. Okay. So finally, so we close the database connections. Okay. Now let's connect that update functions to our the user interface. Okay. Suppose we have a form where the user can edit the course details and the button to save the changes. Okay. So here is a simple example. Okay. So this example will take the course ID and the updated input values and calls the update course method and shows the confirmation toast message. Okay. So, next we will run the application. Okay. So, let us test our update features in our applications. Okay. So, for that first we have to open the applications and select the course to edit. Then second, we have to change the course details. For example, update the name of the course or update the duration of the course. Okay. Then next, we have to click the update button for update the course details. Okay. So, now you will see the record updated in the database immediately with the confirmation message. Okay. So, to summarize about this one, so we added the update course functions in the DB handler using SQLite database update method. Next, we connected it to a button in the main activity. So, the users can modify the existing course records. Okay. So, always remember to specify the where class when updating to avoid modifying all the rows. Okay. So, now let us run our applications and see the update functionality in action. Okay. Suppose we have an existing course with the following details like course name is C++ and the duration is 20 days, track is 20 tracks and descriptions of the course is C++ self-paced course. Okay. See, we update this course using our applications with the new details. Okay. So, what are the new details? Course name is C++ with the DSA and duration is 40 days, track 40 track. Then description of the courses are C++ with the DSA self-paced course. Okay. So, once we click the update button, the applications updates all the course details in the SQLite database immediately. Okay. So, a confirmation message appears showing that the entire course record has been successfully updated. Okay. So, this applications demonstrates how easily we can modify the existing data in the Android SQLite database using Kotlin. Okay. So, and that is it. Updating the data in the SQLite is a simple and a efficient one. Okay. So, try this out in our own applications. Okay. So, next we will learn how to read and display the data we stored in our database such as the course details and show it to the user. Okay. So, let us get started understanding data fetching. Okay. In SQLite, the data is stored in the tables with the rows and columns. To retrieve the records, we have to use a query or raw query methods of the SQLite database class. Okay. So, the data is returned in a cursor object which allow us to move through each row and read the column values. Okay. So, once we have the data, we can display it in a list and text views we have or any other user interface element in our Android applications. Okay. So, next we will see about how to add the fetch method in the DB handler. Okay. So, let us create the functions in our DB handler class to fetch all the courses from the database. Okay. So, this is a Kotlin code for that. We start by creating the mutable list to store the course details. Okay. So, next we get a readable database instance using readable database function. Okay. So, next we run the SQL query to select all the records from our course table. So, now the cursor object allows us to iterate through each row and get the column values using the method of getString. Okay. So, finally, we close the cursor and the database and return the list of the courses. Okay. So, next we display the fetched data in our activity. So, here is a simple example using the button click to show the courses in the toast. Okay. So, when the user click the fetch button, so it will call the get all courses method. So, this will retrieve all the course records and it will display them using the toast message. Okay. So, now you can also show this data in a recycler view for the more advanced user interface. Okay. So, next we will run the applications. Okay. Let us test our fetch feature in a running applications. So, the first we have to run the applications and add some courses if none exist. Then we have to click the fetch course button. So, now you will see all the courses stored in the SQLite databases displayed on the screen. Okay. So, this confirms that our data retrieval is working perfectly. Okay.